Cut. Thank you, guys.
Hi, I'm Fire Action. The purpose of this video is to show you how to create an AI video. I'll be sharing the tips and tricks that help me out.
It used to be that making a movie required a massive budget, depending on the genre. Today, the world of filmmaking is accessible right from your computer. But how do you avoid falling into the trap of AI slop, meaning mass-produced, low-quality content, and actually create something of high quality? Here's how to start. It's tempting to want to jump right into generating a video, but let's take it step by step. If you want a baseline level of quality, you need to follow standard filmmaking practices. And that starts with writing the script. You wouldn't build a house without a blueprint. It's the exact same thing for filmmaking and your script. There are several tools you can use to write your script, like Celtics or Script Pro. The great thing about both is that they let you add a storyboard and link files directly to a scene. Both also offer a free plan. Script Pro even includes AI features to help you generate images and polish your script. Once your script is finished, I highly recommend checking out some tutorials or courses on directing. Get familiar with concepts like choosing your camera shots and setting up your lighting. The AI shouldn't become the director. You're the one in the driver's seat. You need to treat the AI as your assistant and your cameraman. Having your script and ideas in your head is great. Actually bringing them to life is even better. But which platform should you choose? Between Runway, Higgsfield, or OpenArt? It's completely normal to feel a bit lost. I'd love to tell you what the absolute best platform is, but honestly, I don't have the answer. It really comes down to your personal preference and what tool you feel most comfortable with. To start off, what does a platform actually offer? Platforms like Runway or Higgsfield provide you with several AI models. The model is the engine that actually generates your video or image. Right now on the market, there are several video models: Seedance, Kling, Runway, Gen, Veo, and many others. Currently, Seedance and Kling remain the best out there. On most platforms, they give you some free credits to try things out. Of course, it's not enough to make a full short film, but it lets you test the interface. Basically, whenever you generate a video or an image, it consumes what are called credits. For example, on OpenArt, generating a 10-second Kling AI Omni video with sound in 1080p quality will cost you 400 credits. When you sign up for a subscription, you'll receive a certain number of credits depending on your plan. For example, with Runway's Pro plan, you get 2,250 credits a month. A 1080p Kling 3.0 video of 10 seconds costs 170 credits on that platform. Keep in mind, if you don't use all your credits, they don't roll over to the next month. However, if you ever run out, platforms like Runway or OpenArt let you buy extra credits on demand. And the best part is, those ones don't expire. To start out, I highly recommend using a platform that offers multiple models, like Runway or OpenArt. That way, you can easily juggle between Seedance, Kling, and others. I've tested Runway, which is the market leader. They have a $95 plan that offers unlimited generations. They call it Explore Mode. The upside is that it doesn't use up any of your credits. The downside is that when you want to generate an image or video, you get put in a queue. You don't have priority. Sometimes generation can take up to 20 minutes. I found Runway to be quite intuitive, especially when it comes to the workflow. The way you link a reference image to a video is pretty clear and straightforward. However, a quick warning if you want to make a film featuring blood or weapons. Their moderation is incredibly strict, and your video might get blocked or censored. I also tested out OpenArt. They don't offer unlimited generations, but they do have several pricing tiers. Plus, you get access to multiple models. I actually find this platform really interesting. You can even create your own custom characters, which helps you maintain consistency. That means from one shot to the next, your character's face or clothes won't randomly change. We'll dive deeper into that later in the video. OpenArt also lets you generate a 3D world, again, with that same goal of keeping things consistent. After all, it would be pretty weird to have one shot looking at a castle, and then in the very next shot, you're suddenly looking at an apartment. To wrap up this chapter, I just have one piece of advice: experiment. Compare the prices and see if you actually like the interface. But try to go with a platform that offers multiple models, as well as one that lets you buy extra credits on demand. You'll quickly see that shooting an AI video is just like shooting in real life. You're definitely going to have to do multiple takes. We've covered the platforms. Now, let's turn our attention to the models. On the video front, among many others of course, we have Kling AI and Seedance. It's tough to say which one is the absolute best. Honestly, it's just like choosing a real camera. The best model really depends on the scene you're shooting. For example, if you're doing a dance or a fight scene, Kling usually gets the better results. But for dialogue scenes, Seedance delivers absolutely gorgeous results. You can actually find a bunch of videos on YouTube comparing the two using the exact same prompt. Getting back to the creation of your film, if your story has characters, you're going to hold a casting session just like in real life. Except here, the casting is for AI-generated characters. On OpenArt, you can create your character, and they will become what's technically known as a reference. To maintain strong consistency, you should generate multiple images of your character, like a close-up, a full-body shot, a front view, and a back view. AI videos are still a really new medium, so naturally, there's some skepticism and mistrust from the general public. Try to help give AI a positive image. That means don't use photos of celebrities, and definitely don't use pictures of your friends or family without their consent. Once you've got your characters locked in, it's storyboard time. Generate an image for your scene and plug in your character as a reference. If you want a great result, you've got to be incredibly descriptive. Don't skip the little things. If you don't give enough detail, the AI will just start filling in the blanks. Sometimes that works out, but other times it ruins the shot. Like having an electric lamp randomly show up in a medieval castle. Don't forget to specify your camera angle, too. Here's a quick hack. Use an AI like ChatGPT or Gemini to optimize your prompts. When you have a machine talking directly to another machine, the communication is always spot on. Even though a film is technically just a series of images, you're probably eager to actually generate your video. On platforms like Seedance or Kling, you have two main options: start frame and text with reference. The start frame and end frame settings tell the AI that your video needs to begin and end with the exact images you provide. Text with reference gives you a bit more control. Remember how you created your character earlier? Now you can plug them in as a reference. This way, the AI will drop them into the video while locking in that character consistency. Just like with generating images, you need to be extremely detailed about the video action. For example, let's say I want my protagonist to walk in and sit on a chair. I'll attach my character reference and specifically write that they enter through the door. You really have to specify through the door, because otherwise the AI might just have your character wander into the camera frame from behind. You should also point out the camera angle. Does the camera need to move, or should it stay static? And again, don't hesitate to have your AI chatbot polish up your prompt. Now, if your scene includes dialogue, AI is definitely improving, but it can still make mistakes. For example, let's say you're generating a bank robbery scene. Even if you prompt the AI to make the robber say, "Hands up, this is a robbery," the lines might get swapped. You could end up with the banker shouting, "Hands up, this is a robbery," which is obviously not what you want. To fix this issue, instead of using pronouns like he in your prompt, explicitly write "the robber," or even redescribe the character entirely. Also, try to limit each generation to a maximum of 2 lines of dialogue. Going back to that bank robbery example, make sure to indicate the behavior of the other hostages in your prompt if they're in the scene. Remember, you're the director here. What do you want your extras to be doing? Should they be screaming, crying, or just lying perfectly still on the floor? A heist is inherently violent. On Runway, your video might end up getting blocked by moderation. To get around this, you have a few options. The first is to ask your AI chatbot to tone down your prompt and make it as mild as possible. Otherwise, you'll have to pivot to another platform, or just use Kling's website directly. Keep in mind, though, that you really need to balance the level of violence. Major competitions like the Runway AI Film Festival will actually disqualify you if your film is too violent. As you can see, the videos can't be longer than 15 seconds. Usually, you're going to need more time than that. To maintain continuity, just take the last frame of your clip and insert it as your new start frame. You also have the option to do multi-shot generations. This means generating a single video that cuts between several different camera angles. This can be super useful if you want to build a sequence. Let's say your protagonist is terrified to open a door. For the first shot, you do a tight shot on the scared character, and then for the second shot, you cut to an extreme close-up of just their hand on the doorknob. Silence and eye contact are incredibly important in filmmaking. From my own experience, I've struggled with this a bit using AI. For example, I'd ask for a silent shot, but the character would still end up talking. To fix this, you have to explicitly write no dialogue and no lip movement in your prompt. And speaking of unwanted effects, which we call hallucinations in the AI world, always make sure to type no music in your prompts. Otherwise, the AI will add an unwanted background track. And the worst part is, if you generate multiple clips for the same scene, you might end up with several completely different songs playing. In your output settings, you can select your aspect ratio, like 9:16, 16:9, and so on. Personally, for a short film that's longer than 3 minutes, I stick to 16.9. For anything under 3 minutes, or content destined for TikTok and similar platforms, go with 9:16. Just be careful. Trying to convert a 9:16 video into 16.9 later on will result in a loss of quality. To wrap up the filming phase, you have the option to generate your videos in several resolutions, even up to 4K. I actually recommend sticking to 1080p because most festivals accept this format. Plus, if you ever need to boost the resolution later on, upscaling works incredibly well. Now, for the editing phase. There's a lot of software out there, but personally, I use Vegas Pro. This step is crucial because it allows you to smooth out AI-related imperfections. If your film features humans, you might run into the uncanny valley effect. That means empty expressions or faces that are just too perfect, which can completely pull the viewer out of your story. It's honestly a bit creepy to see a human stare with zero emotion. To fix this, play around with your cuts and add a little bit of film grain. Also, if you use multiple AI models to generate your clips, you're going to notice slight differences in the final render. Like I mentioned earlier, you have to treat the AI model like a camera. If you switch cameras, the image changes. To blend those little differences together, you can play around with color grading and contrast. I'm not a professional editor by any means, so I highly encourage you to check out some specific tutorials on that. If you're using different platforms, the voices might end up changing. You can easily fix this by generating a consistent voice using ElevenLabs. Once your project is finished, keep in mind that more and more film festivals are now accepting this format. There's also a massive competition hosted by Runway. As I mentioned earlier, this is a new medium, and it can scare some people. It's up to us to show the positive side of these tools, and that means refusing to create deepfakes. Commit to transparency by always stating that your footage is AI-generated. Let's also remember that the goal here isn't to wage war on traditional cinema, nor is it to replace human actors or camera crews. The goal is simply to offer a new kind of creative medium. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Best of luck and much success with your future films.